Let's have a look at the grid for race 2, and as I mentioned, it's a reverse. So Scott Jennings and Ryle Harris go from 15th and 16th to the front row of the grid. Brad Patton and Ben Dunn line up on row 2. So the guys to watch for are fighting for the championship, actually. Leighton Cranbrook and Jack Ellsgood came into this round separated by only a handful of points. They had a solid run earlier today. They finished in behind Grant Johnson, who won race 1. So they're going to be buried back in the pack, trying to work their way through. And you think reverse grid races in Utes can be wild. Imagine it at Bathurst.
What a place to have it. That's the magic of this category. Reverse grid racing, as you see, 16th Grant Johnson, the race 1 winner, unfortunately goes back to 16th, and what a set of conditions to do it in. I can tell you firsthand, it is so slippery out there, and you know what you don't want to be in when it's wet? A ute. There's no weight over the rear. You know, that goes against the laws of nature.
Bit of a change this weekend too. You might have seen there Marshall Brewer taking over the Victoria Coffee Commodore. George Elliott recently had a back operation, so he's been resting and recovering in Melbourne. Spent a few weeks there in hospital, which is very unlike George to keep him down for a little while. He promises he'll be back for Sydney, so I'm not sure he's told his doctor about that though. But this is Andrew Fisher, the G's is all about life Falcon. He's had a tough run in the V8 Supercar, has tasted the concrete twice this weekend. It's a really big step up for him.
He's a tough competitor in the Ute Series. He's been in it for a while now, and he certainly knows how to manhandle one of these beasts, and that's exactly what you have to do with a Ute. Heavy car, a lot of horsepower, little tyre, big braking stops around here. So it's going to ask a lot of these machines and these drivers. So it's about who is prepared to just go that little bit further, who's prepared to take the bigger risks. That's how you win around here, and in a reverse grid race, it isn't more important than it is now.
And this is the penultimate round. It's round 7, the final round. We're deciding a lot of championships in Sydney for the Sydney Telstra 500. This man has never won the Ute Series, the DVA in-car with Jack Ellsgood. He leads coming into this weekend. He's been pipped at the post so many times. Could this be Jack's year?
Yeah, he's absolutely tired of being a bridesmaid, and never tell that to his face. Have you seen the size of his guns? He's a massive unit, Jack Ellsgood. He wants this so bad. He has been in it for such a long time. An incredible racer. A really talented guy for a footballer when it comes to motor racing. He's certainly adapted himself well. But there is no greater test than around here, the Mount Panorama.
And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the drivers are just a little bit rusty. It's been a long time since the last round at Sandown. And this is Craig Dontis.
Helmet cam.
Off the edge of the camera, the SS Inductions camera. Scott Jennings, the front row of the grid. New engine on board this car for this weekend. Ryle Harris, it might be his last appearance. He's trying to get into the Fujitsu V8 Series in the years to come. But it's a full field at the mountain. Stand back from the fences is generally the best advice. I
can't begin to tell you how important it is for these guys to race here. There is no greater stage to be on, no better place to make a name for yourself. There's all these team managers of V8 Supercar teams just over that fence there on your left that are looking over at these young guys, seeing where the talent's coming from, who just might be the next Craig Lowndes. It could be from here. Who knows?
Green flag at the rear. That's the signal to the starter to start the sequence. And let the mayhem unfold. Mount Panorama away, race 2 in the Yokohama V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. Look at Grant Johnson. He almost took out the L&H brake marker, but it's Ryle Harris who's made the jump and will lead them up Petters Mountain Straight. Look at this, Craig Dontis with an eagle-eye view.
This is going to make us sick, isn't it, watching this? As you can see, checking around who's beside him, who has he got an overlap on? Is there any room up ahead where he might get a run in a slipstream? There's a lot going on in the opening lap around Mount Panorama. So much pressure. And look at the changing conditions. In the braking zone, it's wet on the inside, dry on the outside. That might just catch a couple out if you're not paying attention.
And remember, the Utes don't run a slick racing tyre. Excuse me. They run a grooved Yokohama tyre, so it's good for these conditions. Obviously, there's a little bit of water around, but they can cope with it.
Opting for a gear higher there, you can hear, instead of shifting down and getting it all twitchy in the rear, remember they are light in the back, so very easy to light one of these babies up. So if you stay in a gear a little higher, well, then you might prevent a lot of wheel spin. So some clever driving, some unusual techniques. You see a lot of go-karters running around the outside. Oh, here the wheel lock-ups and the sliding going on. Slightly slipperier over the top, and the corner Gs are a lot higher. So just when you think you've got your handle on the car and your amount of traction under control, wait till you get over the crest of one of these blind babies, and it could all disappear.
The shot from above, the SP Tools Airview cam on this first lap, dropping off the anti-skyline, and the road It just disappears.
It does. You take anyone around here in a road car and they just they can't believe that you're doing, you know, over 220 k's over the top, and it's quite narrow. You can't see around the corners. Through here on these kind of, you're locking up fronts all the time as you come down the hill. As the road falls away from you, that's when you're in your most amount of braking trouble usually. Really hard to pull up something that's what, about 1,800 kilos, I think, these cars.
Leighton Cranbrook.
Oh, he's getting squeezed.
Tight, the reigning champ.
But he's got a great run out in the Jesus All About Life Falcon, so although he took the risk of shutting the door, it did give him a great run out, and he's put 2 car lengths on the car behind.
The long run down Conrod Straight. Cranbrook trying to go back-to-back and win another championship. But it's Ryle Harris who's just stretched the lead over Scott Jennings. Ben Dunn is next. Then it's Kim Jane, a winner last time out at Sandown. I think there's a few front runners getting impatient. Cranbrook elbows Gary Baxter aside.
Here's two of the series great combatants there. The Green Cooper's car versus Gary Baxter. They're always toe-to-toe. They're always fist-to-fist. They love a great street fight. They love a battle around a great place like this. Look at Baxter running wide again.
Andrew Fisher closing in on Craig Dontis. But Harris is away and running. 2.5 seconds is the margin. Not sure that he can do a Jonathan Webb on the field in this one.
Missed a gear.
Whoop. And that'll cost him all the way up because Kurt Wimmer will go charging on through, as will Gary McDonald, who's back in the series this weekend, replacing Giannis Therams.
Gary McDonald's been in the series since day dot. I raced against him when we were first in the Ute Series, but missing a gear up Mountain Straight is the worst place to do it. Anytime you have to climb and use your maximum horsepower, don't miss a gear.
This is the SS Inductions camera that we've mounted in and underneath Craig Dontis' Thirsty Camel Falcon.
The body flexing on the chassis there. That's a lot of load.
We know when he's on the brakes because they go red.
They do.
He's under fire from Andrew Fisher. That's George Mediki, who took pole position earlier in the weekend.
This reminds me of Larry Perkins at years gone by in the wet, when he used to chuck it around sideways out of the cutting like that. Fantastic to watch. Anytime you see a car moving around on its rubber, sliding around, it's spectacular to watch. And you get an appreciation of driver control. You know, when it's dry, a V8 supercar really does do everything quite well. So you don't really get a great understanding of how much a driver is throwing it on the line. But when they move around like this, it's quite easy to tell from the lounge chair just how much fun and just how much they're walking on a fine line.
Fisher nibbling away at the rear bumper of the Dontis Falcon.
It's a very close category, this, isn't it? They've just spent so much time in ensuring that horsepower, componentry, everything is down to a finite detail, where they've just got the lap times across the Ford and Holden brands down to absolutely identical, and that's why the racing is always superb. Look at the replay down the back of the field.
I think Leighton Cranbrook's involved here somewhere. And Jack Elsgood was too. They came together at Sandown. They're fighting for the championship.
Oh, it's a late lunge by Jack. Oh, locks up the fronts. Very, very deep under brakes. At that point, when you lock fronts, you can't turn, and he's just plowed into the side of his championship combatant. This is great. Turn 2. Johnson up the inside of Andrew Fisher, squeezed. And then I think the Camel car's got a bit of toe out there as well after that impact.
Oh. Somehow none of them ended up in the fence.
They got away with it though.
But Jack Elsgood has captured some more action for us here. Steve Robinson in a repaired ute, remember, he flipped at Sandown, and Harris is under the gun here. Gary McDonald is going to push him all the way to the checker flag, but I think Jack Elsgood might find himself with a visit to the stewards.
Yeah, I think that impact with Cranbrook was maybe a little too obvious, unfortunately. The conditions are definitely very tricky. Different amounts of precipitation on the track in different parts of the track, which makes it hard. But the final lap is always going to be sensational. This is such an important place to race. Kim Jane doing a great job, a great move into the lead. The nephew of course, Bathurst legend Bob Jane, and current lap record holder here at the Mount. So he knows his way around, and the one way he overcomes locking fronts is over-revving and shifting down early and using the rears to prevent that.
Ryle Harris runs out of road. Gary McDonald sneaks on by.
That's just, you know, desperation to want to be on the podium. It's good to see.
That one hurts. He cost himself second place, but Kim Jane will get home in race 2 at Bathurst and did it in style in the end. Fastest lap of the race on the last lap across the line.
Whoa.
Andrew Fisher,
Look at this.
is still going for move.
Oh, he makes it stick.
Jesus saves and makes it around the last corner.
Well done, Andrew. That was a lunge. It's a tight turn and very easy to lock up. He did well. That was great to see.
Craig Dontis, 9th place for the Thirsty Camel Falcon. You can always count on the V8 New boys to turn it on.
And Leighton Cranbrook too, despite those impacts in the last couple of laps, did end up taking the fastest lap there.
Peter Burnett facing the wrong way, all of about 20 metres away from the finish line. Let's have a look at the results in race 2. Grant Johnson did a good job, got his way right through to 6th spot, and our pole sitter Scott Jennings rounded out the top 10.